So imagine you are on a raft with a number of people. You've got people on the right, you've got people in the middle, you've got people in the center, as it were, you've got people on the left, you've got women, you've got men, you've got different religions, you've got different colors, you've got all these people, and we're all heading off in one direction, and it's the right direction to go. And then people start complaining about where people are standing on the raft. And those people who are complaining about those on the right are coming and trying to pull off the planks underneath their feet so they'll fall in, and vice versa. Those on the right are pulling off the planks and the people in the middle, etc., etc. Before too long, we're all going to be in the sea. And that's pretty much what I've been seeing happening in Australia, where so many people who are undermining the work people are doing to stop and put a halt to state-sanctioned ideology, which is gender identity, into Australian law and culture. So if you want to get a sense of the scope of this issue, that this is not just an Australian thing, but it's huge. In fact, it's an international project. Do an exercise. Type into Wikipedia, transgender rights in Australia, New Zealand, UK, Canada, USA, you name it. And you're going to find a chart like this. I did this a couple of years ago that answers various questions that come out of what's called a Denton's Handbook, a colloquial name for a book called Only Adults, Good Practices in Legal Gender Recognition for Youth, a handbook that was created for young trans rights activists, LGBTQIA activists, to put certain goals into law. Okay. And these are kind of the goals. Here, you can pause and have a read, but I've taken the particular goals, there's 9 of them, out of the book and put them here on the left. And on the right, I've listed those laws that execute those goals. So pause and look at it if you like. I'm not going to go through it. I'm actually doing this for people who know a bit about what's going on. Okay. So anyway, if you look at these laws, like, for example, if we group them, self-ID, birth certificate laws, anti-discrimination, vilification laws, vilification or hate speech laws, for example, anti-discrimination if you in any way treat a man who believes that he is the same as a woman differently, for example, or birth certificate laws that falsify the sex of a kid in law. You have all these consequences here. And if you want a bit more detail on that, go to lostwomanrights.com, for example, in Australia, under 12 major areas, and how it personally impacts people in noconflicttheysaid.org. If you want to know the impact of it on families and children, go to interventivenchildren.org and you'll learn about the pipelining of children from the Australian schools into the gender clinics. And if you want to know the impact of the laws on the medicalisation of young people, you go to aww.org.au. That covers that. Conversion therapy, again, go to aww.org.au in defence of children, and that's the impact of the conversion therapy laws. Those are the major laws happening. Plus, you've got organisations that belong to ILGA, like Equality Australia and ACON. ACON has a goal of putting in audits into everybody's corporate or government organisation for your behaviour, so that you are, conforming to the culture that you should have for gender identity ideology. And Equality Australia is one of the major trans lobbies that are pushing the laws. And the goal of that is to queer culture. And that's going to create a culture we really don't want to be a part of. We don't want to be part of an authoritarian, misogynistic, anti-science, pedophile, and there is pedophile-influenced type culture. You can read a bit about that. So where are we at the moment in 2023? Those laws that make those things happen: Victoria, South Australia, Tasmania, ACT, Northern Territory have generally fallen under. New South Wales is barely holding the line, but you've got Equality Australia that's pushing for all those laws in one go. Okay. Queensland, it's all pending. This is where we're at. These laws make for those consequences. Now, regardless of what your beliefs are, regardless of what philosophy you hold, regardless if you want to talk about the patriarchy, regardless if you want to talk about postmodernism and critical race theory, about why we're here at the moment, one of the major things we have to understand is the laws make it so that there is no choice. So I propose that all of us, instead of pulling the planks out from underneath our feet and dumping us into the sea of stupidity called gender identity, ideology, and evil, that we focus on 3 goals that we can all do regardless of our race, religion, philosophy, beliefs about why things are happening. And there's only 3. It's only 3 goals. First goal is we want to replace the word gender with sex in the Anti-Discrimination Act. And that sex is not conflated with gender identity in law. This is a horrible thing that Julia Gillard did to us. She brought this in 2013, okay? We want to take that back. Second thing is a statutory provision to declare that sex is the paramount protected characteristic and that it trumps gender identity and displaces the protected characteristic of sex. And lastly, what we want is a statutory provision for funding services and spaces that provide for women to be on the basis of their sex. Now, we may all have different ways of getting there, but if we're not focused on those goals, we are all at sea. We really are. If we are focused on the goals, no matter where we stand, we will take this raft, as it were, and get it to the place we need to go. So that's my request. Can we please stop undermining people who really are working towards the same goal and going in the same direction? Thank you. Bye.